Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang tatalakay sa kapangyarihan ng serbisyo sibil. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang hihimay sa kapangyarihan ng pamalang lokal. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Programang maglalapit sa pamalan at mamamayan. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Kikilos ang barangay para sa bayan, edukasyon, kalusugan, trapiko, basura at iba pa. SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. Tatalakay sa mga problemang napapanahon, problemang hahanapan ng solusyon. At ngayon, ang inyong mga lingkod, De Leon Gomez, SOS, Serbisyo, Ora-Mismo, Sigurado. This program is supported by the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, the Philippine Red Cross, Parenting Foundation, and the Metro Manila Council.
Ako po, si Hanilet Abansenya, isang nanay, nurse, at health advocate. Samahan po ako na manawagan sa ating mga mambabatas na iligtas ang pamilyang Pilipino sa second-hand smoke. Let's go for smoke-free Philippines.
Ang public service announcement na ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Health Justice Philippines.
Wala akong narinig.
Okay, narinig kita.
Magandang hapon mga kaibigan. Ito po si Johnny Gomez para sa SOS, Serbisyo Ora-Mismo, Sigurado ng ating tita ng barangay, Tita Cora Alma de Leon. Mukhang nagkakaroon lang po ng konting challenges sa connectivity ang ating tita ng barangay. Pero nasa kabilang linya po natin mga kaibigan, ang presidente ng Health Justice Philippines. Wala pong iba kundi si Ma'am Marian Fernandez. Ma'am Marian, magandang hapon po sa inyo, ma'am.
Magandang hapon din sa iyo, Johnny, at sa lahat ng mga nakikinig sa atin. No? Mamimiss ko to si Chair Cora. But anyway, we will wait for her and we can start the program already.
That's right.
Napaganda ng topic natin. Ano? It's about the planet and our health. No? So I think ako nga, planetary health. The first time that I also encountered this concept. No? So it's very new. And I will first introduce and welcome our guest. No? So ang guest natin ay si Dr. Renzo Arginto, who is a medical doctor and also a doctor of philosophy. Siya ay director ng Planetary and Global Health. No? So, sapok na sapok sa ating topic at the St. Luke's Medical Center. And then, siya din yung Chief Planetary Health Scientist ng Sunway Center for Planetary Health in Malaysia. And at the same time, member of the National Panel of Technical Experts on Climate Change Commission. So, siya yung ating
magiging panauhin ngayon.
Oo, pero gusto ko din bigyan ng konteksto yung ating some perspective for our topic today, no? And of course I got this from the WHO website, no? Kasi we are celebrating the World Global Health tomorrow, April 7, Ayan. So tama-tama, no? Yeah, I got this from their website and marami ding videos. So I also encourage our listeners to please go to the website of WHO and read more about the concept of planetary health, no? So ang sabi dito, of course, our global objective is a world where clean air, water, and food are available to all. And where all economies are focused on health and well-being. No? So bagay ito
Okay.
no? Parang sinasabi natin, dapat everything, especially the economy, may focus talaga sa health. And where there are livable and people have control over their health and the health of the planet. No? So yun yung ano. They also mentioned that about 13 million a year, 13 million a year, died around the world due to avoidable environmental causes. The climate crisis, which is the single biggest health threat facing humanity, and of course, the climate crisis is also a health crisis.
Yes.
Parang interconnected na lahat. So yun ang ating concern ngayon, napakalaking concern tungkol sa planet Earth, no? And naalala ko tuloy istorya na sa akin ng aking isang mentor, si Dr. Gene Houston, na si Neil Armstrong, lead astronaut nung Apollo 11. Of course, famous siya sa quotation na one step of man, a great leap for mankind. Di ba yun ang kanyang, ang kanyang line? Pero sinabi din niya in one of his reflection, sabi niya nung pababa daw sila papunta na maglalanding na sa Earth. So nakita niya yung planet Earth na parang malaking bola na blue. And parang he was so affected, sabi niya, how beautiful is our Earth, sabi niya. And he was also saying na as he was seeing the planet Earth, wala namang boundaries. Walang boundaries. Wala. Ngayon, may mga boundaries tayo, countries tayo. But parang my insight there is, since sabi niya, we are interconnected. We have only one home, and that is planet Earth. We breathe the same air, and we are covered by the same water systems. Kaya kung may problema sa isa, apektado tayong lahat. For example, nung nagkaroon ng fire sa Jakarta, pati yung usok dumating dito sa Pilipinas. No? And parang doon nagsimula yung concern for Mother Earth and our role in ensuring that Mother Earth is sustained. Medyo mahirap, but I think it's a great challenge to all of us. And I think slowly the world is becoming aware about our common home and the need to preserve the environment, because the environment affects all of us. Yun lang, napahaba ata. But anyway,
yes, for me, napaka-importante ng talakayan, and we cannot thank health justice enough, no? Dito sa patuloy na pagbibigay ng importansya dito po sa ating tinatalakay. Pero pabatiin muna natin ngayong hapon, mga kaibigan, si Dr. Renzo Ginto. Mga kasama po natin sa talakayan. Dr. Ginto, magandang hapon po sa inyo.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat, and of course, Happy World Health Day. Bukas pa yan.
Happy World Health Day.
Yes, sa tingin ko dapat araw-araw is World Health Day. Tama
Merong isang siyentipiko na nagsabi na if we cannot, kumbaga magtulong-tulong daw for us to be able to have a cleaner environment, kung hindi daw po natin gagawin ngayon, baka it will be too late, Dr. Ginto.
Indeed. And, yung sinabi niyo po too late, no? Ang problema kasi ngayon, yung mga environmental challenges na kinaharap natin ngayon, may mga deadline na, no? So for
Ayan.
example, sa usapin ng climate change, the deadline is 2030, no? If you remember, there is a treaty, yung Paris Agreement, na
Yes.
pinag-agrihan ng lahat ng mga bansa sa mundo. And the objective or the goal is to keep the global average temperature increase to below 1.5 degrees Celsius bago mag-2030. Kasi pag hindi natin nakamit yon, ay talagang catastrophic yung mga impacts, lalo na sa kalusugan ng mga mamamayan. At as you know,
Okay.
the Philippines is at the heart of the climate crisis. No?
Yes. But before we
Okay.
go on, Johnny, let us request our resource person to give us some background to. Ngayon ko lang narinig yung planetary health and you are the expert. Wow, sabi ko ngayon, I'm meeting the expert on planetary health. Maybe you can tell us how did it start itong discipline na planetary Earth, planetary and health, and yung how did you start your own journey in terms of entering this discipline? Ikaw lang atang, marami pa bang experts on planetary health dito sa
Ako, ma'am,
Pilipinas?
dumadami na.
Hindi mo kami ng background.
Sige po. Dumadami na, which is good news, no? Ako, sa tingin ko, dapat everybody is a planetary health advocate, no? Hindi lang siya, expertise that belongs to a select few, no? And that's why nagagalak ako na sa ating palatuntunan ngayon, we're talking about planetary health. Sana po maraming mga kabataan at mga profesional na makapakinig, no? At ma-embrace yung konsepto ng planetary health. Of course, mas familiar tayo siguro dun sa term na public health, no?
Yeah,
Yes, and when we say public health, it's about taking care of the health of the people, right? Of the human population. Kaya lang, kanina nga nabanggit natin yung climate change, pero mamaya pwede natin pag-isapan yung iba pang mga environmental threats to our health. Napagtanto natin in the health sector na hindi na enough na yung tao lamang yung ating pinangangalagaan. Kailangan ng kasama yung planeta na kung saan tayo'y nakatira. Sabi mo nga, ma'am, si Neil Armstrong nabighani, no? Nung nakita niya ang planet Earth, no? It's so beautiful to look at. But I think beyond the visual beauty of planet Earth, it also has a direct health benefit to us, no? A healthy planet leads to a healthy people. So, yun po yung naging simula, no, ng planetary health. And ngayon, it's a very intersectoral at transdisciplinary community, no? Hindi lang po puro mga doktor ang involved sa planetary health. In fact, may mga projects ako na ang ka-work ko veterinaryo, no? Usually hindi nag-uusap ang doktor ng tao at ang doktor ng hayop. Pero the COVID-19 pandemic, which is a disease, a virus that jumped from an animal to a human being, na-realize natin kailangan pala nating mag-usap. Kailangan natin kausap ang mga environmentalist, ang mga social scientists, ang iba-ibang disiplina at sektor. So yun po yung maikling kasaysayan, no, ng planetary health. At nung ako po ay naging doktor, maaga kong nakita, no, ang kahalagahan nito, no. Sabi ko, ano bang mangyayari kung ako ay nakaupo lamang sa clinic tapos wala tayong ginagawa doon sa mga tinatawag na causes of the health problems, such as polluted air, unclean water, and an unstable climate, at iba pa.
Wow. So napakaganda pala ng career journey mo, no? Napunta ka sa planetary health, no? Pero you are a medical doctor.
I am a medical doctor, apo.
Ano naman ang mga pinag-aaralan para maging planetary health expert ka?
Ayan, ako, madami po yan. Sabi nga namin ang planetary health, para madaling matandaan, tandaan nyo na lang yung acronym na LAHAT, no? Ang planetary health ay agham ng lahat.
Okay.
L, lupa. A, araw at ako. H, hayop, halaman, hangin, di ba? T, tao, at pati tanim, no? So ang lahat ay magkaugnay. Sabi nga ni Joey Ayala sa kanyang kanta, di ba? So yun po
pa dati si Joey Ayala.
dapat, no? Kasama natin yan sa planetary health. So ang planetary health, basically, tinitignan natin yung lahat at yung interconnection ng iba't ibang mga aspeto, no, ng ating planeta at ating kalusugan, pati nga mga hayop, mga halaman, no, kaya yung mga plantito at plantita na nakikinig sa atin,
Oo.
kasama yan sa planetary health. Pero siguro ma'am, tanong nyo, ano yung mga specific issues, no? For example, no, air pollution is still a major public health problem around the world, including in the Philippines. Every year, 7 million people die of air pollution. No?
Wow.
So, and of course, I think this is an underestimate. I'm sure there are other people who are not counted. Yung food systems, nako, isa pa yung planetary health issue. Right now, we have food systems that destroy the planet and at the same time destroy our health because they're making us fat and obese. Right? So how can we envision a new kind of food system that is good for people but also good for the planet? Yan ang isang malaking planetary health question. And then yung climate change, no? Ang daming mga epekto sa kalusugan na, no? Ina-anticipate natin na yung mga infectious diseases like dengue, malaria, tataas lalo dahil nagbabago ang klima. Tapos yung yung undernutrition, nako, lalala po yan kasi kapag ay matindumindi ang mga bagyo or matindi rin ang init, yung ating mga pananim hindi na naha-harvest. And that can lead to food insecurity in the long run. And there's also growing evidence, so ang mga binanggit ko, mga physical health impacts. Meron din pong mental health impacts ang climate change. So may bagong termino, yung tinatawag na climate anxiety.
Climate anxiety.
Kasi ngayon, lalo na yung mga kabataan, pag nakikita nila sa news na ang climate change lumalala, tapos ang gobyerno, ang business sector, mabagal ang pagkilos. Tapos makikita nila na by 2030, marami ng mga islang lulubog, mas maraming typhoons, mas matindi ang init. Sino po ba ang hindi ma-feel na ang anxiety na yan, no? Na yun po yung kinahaharap natin sa mga darating na taon. So yun lamang po ang ilan sa mga planetary health issues.
Yun lang, ha?
Yun lang, no?
Napakadami nun. Ano naman ang, since you're a doctor at the St. Luke Medical Center, anong services are you providing the public regarding planetary health? Kasi, I'll be honest with you, I've been with government for 40 years. Parang hindi pa napag-uusapan niya ng DNR. DNR, our Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So, hindi pa napag-usapan. Kaya maganda itong ating topic kasi first time na mapapag-aralan natin at sana mapalawig pa natin yung pag-aaral dito.
Tama yan, ma'am. And in planetary health, mukhang kailangan natin ng whole of government approach.
Okay.
Hindi na lang sa pang DENR lang, hindi lang
That's
sa pang
right.
OH lang, no? And as you mentioned kanina sa introduction, I am also a member of the National Panel of Technical Experts of the Climate Change Commission. Isa rin huyang ahensya ng gobyerno na ang focus ay climate change. At dun sa panel na ito, may doktor, may ekonomista, mayroong environmentalist, may geologist. So iba-iba rin po yung aming mga disiplina kasi climate change is really a cross-sectoral and cross-disciplinary issue. No? So going back to your other question, ma'am, yung sa St. Luke's, no? Bigyan namin yung Planetary and Global Health Program. During the pandemic, because we realized we really need to start preparing the next generation of medical doctors and health professionals who can tackle itong mga planetary health issues na ating pinag-usapan. We also are, doing a lot of research activities, no? Na may kinalaman dun sa ilan sa mga isyong nabanggit ko kanina. For example, yung mental health impacts of climate change. Yan po ay aming tinututukan. And syempre, hindi lang po pwedeng nag-educate ka ng kabataan at gumagawa ng research, no? Nagpapakadalubhasa. Kailangan yung bagong kaalaman ay magamit din sa polisiya at ng gobyerno, pati na rin ng business sector at civil society. So talagang kami po ay may madikit na interaksyon, no? Sa ating mga iba-ibang policy makers, decision makers. Ma-influence natin yung mga gagawing hakbang para maprotektahan ng kalusugan ng mamamayan at ang kalusugan ng planeta as well.
napakaganda ng initiative ng St. Luke's Medical Center, no? Parang visionary to think about this. Kasi ang national government nakafocus ngayon sa universal healthcare, diba? Wala, parang hindi ko nakita yung environment doon. Kasi pinag-usapan din namin dito ang universal healthcare. And of course, marami ding batas na hindi naman napapatupad, no? Kasi nanggaling ako sa Department of Labor, we did a study on green jobs, no? Sa parang isang concern natin would be work na green, no? That are environment friendly. Kaya even mga builders and contractors are talking about green buildings, no? Kasama din 'yan, ano? And of course, sabi nga yung pagtatanim. And kailangan talaga paghandaan ang itong sinasabi mo nga na past potential crisis na pwedeng mangyari. Tatawagan ko si Johnny, baka may tanong siya kay Dr. Ginto. Johnny?
Parang nawala si Sir.
Nawala si
Pero magdagdagan ko yung sinabi mo, no? Kasi sinabi mo green jobs. Sa health sector naman, green healthcare dapat din ang pinag-uusapan natin.
Okay. Ano ibig sabihin yan?
And actually green and climate smart, climate resilient healthcare. So, himayin ko lang to ha. Pag sinabi natin na ang healthcare ay green and sustainable, dapat hindi nagko-contribute ang healthcare to the climate change crisis and to environmental problems. No? Hindi tayo dapat bumubuga ng carbon sa atmosfera. Yung waste management sa mga ospital.
Yeah, there's a major problema.
Indeed. You know?
Sa dami ng mga PPEs na plastic.
PPEs, yung mga syringe, no? At kahit before the pandemic, no, marami rin tayong mga
talagang problema
healthcare waste na nire-release sa environment. So yan po ay isang dapat natin gawin within the health sector, no? Make it green and sustainable because we don't want to harm the planet, di ba? We don't want to harm people. We don't want to harm the planet as well. Pero yung isang aspeto pa, yung tinawag kong climate resilience. Kasi, when these impacts happen, ang laging apektado kalusugan ng mamamayan, and siyempre, saan sila tatakbo? Sa mga ospital, sa mga health facilities, primary care, no? And kapag hindi handa ang healthcare system sa mga ganong kaganapan, ay, ma-overburden, no? Ma-overwhelm yung sistema. So, ano ba yung mga dapat hakbang, no, para mabuo yung tinatawag na climate resilient health systems, no? We need to prepare our health workforce, not just the doctors but the nurses and all other health professionals. We need to make sure that the hospital buildings hindi sila nababaha. Imagine, doon tatakbo yung mga mamamayan tapos sila rin yung binaha at nasira ng bagyo, no? Oo. And then yung supply ng medicines. Kasi yan po yung laging nakakat, no? Kapag merong sakuna, hindi nakakaabot agad yung mga medical commodities doon sa mga mamamayan. So how do you make sure that the medical supply chain is sustainable, no? And so I think the COVID-19 pandemic can give us a lot of lessons on how to do it. So yun po yung connection niya sa COVID eh. It's the same challenges that we saw, di ba? With COVID, of course, hindi siya sakuna or hindi siya bagyo, pero it's a pandemic. But a lot of, lessons are pretty transferable, no? At maa-adapt yan para mabuo yung climate resilient health system na tinatawag.
Siguro, can you give an example of yung sinabi mo about healthcare, green healthcare system? No? Maganda yung sinabi mo, tama naman, no? Kasi we during the pandemic, we saw a lot of yung wastage. Ako nga, kasi I may a kidney transplant, so parati ako nasa MKTI. No? And so nakita ko yung ang dami-daming mga waste, mga ginagamit nila kasi every time na they have a patient, nabibigay sila, may bago na naman sila, kailangan yun. So sabi ko, how do they dispose about this? No? But I learned from yung aking cardio sa NKTI na may bago na silang sistema na uh, parang to treat solid waste in a more environmental friendly way. But maybe you can provide us information. Ano nga bang ginagawa ng health sector, mga hospitals, and other agencies of government regarding solid waste from the health facilities? At saka ano yung mga best practices?
Yep. And nabanggit niyo po yung NKTI, isa po yan sa mga ospital na talagang nagli-lead, no, in this movement, in this green movement in healthcare.
Wow. Glad to know that.
Ang isa pa na part nung di ba, Bopis Triangle, yung yung heart center, of course, no? They have solar panels, and their healthcare waste management also is has already been addressed. Of course, no, maraming mga challenges, pero mahalaga yung unang hakbang masimulan. And Amang Rodriguez, of course, in Marikina.
Marikina.
It's also another leader in terms of how do you prepare for disasters. Kasi 'di ba noon po Naondoy and yung iba pang mga sakuna diyan, maraming mga aral na natutunan at talagang na-implement, no. And then may mga ospital na tayo sa iba-ibang bahagi ng bansa, no. Ako'y taga Calamba, Laguna. So may isang ospital dito na solar powered na rin. Meron din sa Rojas City sa Capi. So may mga ilan na pong halimbawa, no, na pagdating sa energy, ginagawa na po nilang renewable energy, no, ang kanilang facilities. Nakakabawas po ng carbon na i-release sa atmosphere. And then when it comes to healthcare waste management, hindi lang siya about yung pag-set up ng saan mo itatapon yung basura. It has to happen, the changes need to happen throughout the entire life cycle of the product. So when you say life cycle, una, saan ho yan na manufacture, no? Pipili tayo ng mga PPEs doon sa mga company na sumusunod sa sustainability principles. Minimization, use minimization. Kung maaaring hindi gamitin, maggamitin, no? Dahil kung nabawasan yung ginamit, mababawasan din yung i-dispose. And then of course, kapag umabot na tayo sa disposal stage, kung biodegradable yan, pwedeng ibaon sa lupa. Kung yan ay recyclable, it's plastic, pwedeng i-disinfect. And then saka siya i-remold, no, into another into another product. And yun yung tinatawag din na cradle to cradle approach, hindi cradle to grave.
Cradle to cradle.
Kasi yung cradle to grave, landfill ang abot niyan, 'di ba? Oo. But cradle to cradle kasi napanganak ang isa pang bagong produkto from a previous product. So sana marami tayong mga ganyan pang gawin. Not just in healthcare, but in all other sectors, 'di ba? Shopping, fashion, yan, maraming food sector, etc.
Wow, napaganda nung in-outline mo na nangyayari, no? From cradle to cradle at saka starting with the production to identify companies na environment friendly. Maganda yung gano'n. So, naisip ko tuloy si Elon Musk.
Anong meron kay Elon Musk?
He was di ba he introduced electric cars? Oo. And of course, he's also preoccupied with solar. Well, malaki din yung kanyang solar. And he's very much concerned with humanity and protecting the environment. So, naisip ko lang siya.
And we hope that most business leaders and entrepreneurs will follow his example. No?
That's right.
And, I think we need to change the conversation to shift away from this, traditional growth model, economic growth model. No, we need to increase our GDP. We need to increase our profit.
That's right. No?
As if the planet has no limits.
That's right.
There are limits. There's only so much that the planet can absorb in terms of the waste, in terms of the impact, and if those planetary limits have been exceeded, then we can anticipate catastrophic health impacts. So tayo rin sa atin rin po ang balik.
So from where you are, kasi you're also in part of sa Malaysia, no? Yung ano yung agency na yun? Anong ginagawa nun?
So the name is Sunway Center for Planetary Health. So kumbaga may binuo tayo sa Pilipinas in St. Luke's, and then may binuo rin tayo sa Malaysia, which is the Sunway Center for Planetary Health.
Okay.
And the center is also doing a lot of research, education, and advocacy around issues related to planetary health. So for example naman sa Malaysia, we're now in initial talks with the Malaysian government para bumuo ng tinatawag na National Planetary Health Roadmap. Diba?
For Malaysia or for the Philippines?
For Malaysia. At sana gawin natin sa Philippines too, no?
Oo nga. Paano natin magagawa sa Pilipinas?
Well, I think we need the right leaders who will listen to the idea.
Ikaw dapat na mag-advocate niyan.
Sige, tignan natin, no? And, of course, we're not going to talk about the candidates, but elections are coming.
Yeah.
And I think, sadly, we're not hearing a lot about climate change from the candidates.
Wala ngayong planetary health.
Wala rin planetary health. But, as soon as, we have the new administration, I think we need to really articulate a planetary health plan or roadmap for the Philippines as well.
Para kasama na ang lahat, as you say, the whole government approach. Kasi our health system is, fragmented. No? Maraming kulang. Tapos yung focus parang, I don't know, more on curative rather than preventive and promotion. Tapos, more on buildings, construction of more hospitals. So, kailangan magkaroon din silang paradigm shift so that there should be, I think, money for health promotion and advocacy regarding this new concept so that every Filipino should have a global perspective about planetary health na kabit-kabit lahat yun eh.
Indeed.
Kami nga sa health justice, parang we're only looking at, I think kaya kayo nag-meet ni Ralph is because of our food security. Meron kami project.
But also tobacco, ma'am. I'm a big fan of health justice for
very good.
Many years, right? Like, pag syntax, nandun rin ako kasama.
I'm happy to meet you.
Yes.
Kaya, ako may introduce namin yun sa amin. We will have a planning workshop next week. Yung planetary health, I think, is important. Lahat na. We have to look at it from from all perspective. No? Kasi ngayon parang we look at parang isang disease, cancer. Okay? A cardiovascular diseases. When in fact, ano naman, as you are saying, may common causes yan, environment and climate change, di ba?
And also, I think, and this is what we can learn from the tobacco experience, the biggest, force that really that the health sector had to, contend with in the tobacco battle is the corporate sector, right? The industry. And in the issue of climate change, in the issue of unhealthy food, in the issue of environmental pollution, who is the culprit? Also the industry. So I think there's so much to learn from the tobacco experience that we can apply to other planetary health challenges. That's why we should explore how we can work together and expand health justice to planetary health justice.
Tama. Come to think of it, ang tobacco industry is the number 3 polluter of our oceans.
Indeed.
Diba? Yeah. And also, yung tobacco farming is unhealthy because it exposed our tobacco farmers to, yung deadly chemicals in the tobacco, and also yung soil ng tobacco, parang hindi na pwede after, planting tobacco. Of course, the worst scenario is that the tobacco farmers are eternally dependent on the tobacco industry for their income kasi subcontracted sila and yung prices are, hindi naman stable. Hindi ko alam sometimes I feel hopeless whether we can still continue with this fight with the tobacco industry kasi parang mahirap.
Well, ma'am, there's hope. There's hope. There's hope, especially
I'm glad.
Especially with the young people. I think
Yeah.
with all the things that we're seeing online, on social media, etc., the young people are awakened by all these problems. The climate crisis, the COVID crisis, the corruption crisis, the tobacco, etc. So I think we need to engage more the young, in this movement.
Oo, meron naman tayong youth for smoke-free and tobacco
Right.
control.
Oo.
Ang lang is, of course, we're still awaiting kung ibibito ni President yung anti-vaping bill. But the tobacco industry is really very, anong tawag mo na? Talagang iba yung kanilang approach, deceiving yung approach nila. And they are claiming na itong vaping will help people quit when in fact their market is really are young. So yun yung ating main problem because yung health ng ating youth should be protected. Kasi sila yung ating
Yeah, and I'm not sure, ma'am, if you've heard of the news from New Zealand and also from one city in the state of Massachusetts in the US.
Oo.
May bago ng kind of policy yung tinatawag na tobacco-free generation policy.
Oo.
Yung
Ang Singapore meron yan
meron na rin. So imbes
And then
na
meron din tayo, alam mo, sa Bataan, yung Balanga City. Na yun inisyo ni Congressman or Governor Joet. Kaya lang nilibanan ng tobacco industry and I think natalo tayo sa court.
and we'll keep on fighting. Kasi diba the policy links the ban not to age but to your birthday. So if
that's right.
So if your birthday is year 2008 and onwards, you will never be able to access tobacco within your lifetime. And when all the adults have already passed, the new generations will be totally tobacco free. So the end game is definitely hard, but not impossible.
Wow, I'm happy to hear that from you.
Hopefully, within my generation, within my lifetime, we'll see, the end game.
I'm glad that we're able to bring the tobacco. Imagine pumapasok talaga yung tobacco industry na yan in every time that we have this discussion. Kaya I'm happy about this. And also yung developments din sa health justice as you have suggested. Talagang we are now no longer focusing on tobacco control per se, but we're looking at different laws and connecting them. So parang mas wider yung ating approach sa tobacco problem. Siguro can you talk about maraming topic pero siguro sa ngayon we can talk about yung food and nutrition and planetary health. Can you give us some perspectives about this? Because tama ka, ang daming problema natin dito sa health and nutrition.
Yeah.
For our for our farmers and yung mga nagtatanim.
Yes, and when it comes to food, one, I think the food that we have is the food options that we have right now are generally unhealthy, right? Hindi siya nagmi-meet sa criteria, for example, ng Pinggang Pinoy ng ng National Nutrition Council. So that's one, it's unhealthy. Number two, the food production systems that we have are polluting the planet. So it's not only unhealthy to people, it's unhealthy to the planet. Large scale
Why is that?
large scale agriculture we're emitting a lot of carbon in the whole production cycle, no? From planting until the the manufacturing, no, and the distribution, the transport of food is also emitting carbon kasi yung mga truck ay gumagamit din ng petrolyo na bumubuga ng carbon, no? But also the pollution to the air, water, and soil, no? Especially the use of artificial fertilizers and pesticides. So it's harmful to people. It's also harmful to the planet. Our food production systems also increase our chance for, infectious diseases. So for example, new pandemics, new epidemics. Kasi the more we, deal with animals, poultry, cattle, etc., mas mataas yung risk na ang virus tumalon mula sa hayop papunta sa tao. Di ba yan ang nangyari sa Wuhan, with this COVID-19 pandemic? But also the issue of antimicrobial resistance. Yan ang hindi natin pinag-uusapan.
Ano naman yun? Sige nga.
Yung ang dami kong pinapasok na yung antimicrobial resistance.
It's helping us.
There will come a time when our antibiotics are not anymore working. Because the microbes, the bacteria, for example, they're already resistant to the antibiotics. And the reason why that is happening is because we've been pumping our chicken and pigs and cattle with antibiotics as if they're vitamins.
That's
diba?
Right.
You go to the poultry farms, lahat yan, ini-sprayan niya ng antibiotics, tinuturukan para daw tumaba, diba? But the unintended consequence is that the bacteria becomes smarter. So next time, the antibiotic will not anymore work. Okay? And so there might come a time when, a surgeon would rather not operate on you.
Wow. Because
you'll die of infection, not from the tumor. Diba? So that's yeah, and it's an invisible hidden pandemic that we're not talking about. But of course, you mentioned, ma'am, the plight of farmers. I think the food system that we have right now, the agricultural system, is so unfair to the ones who are really putting food on our table. Diba? Ang daming middlemen.
Yeah, that's true.
Ang daming So this is, you're from Dole before, diba? So this is also a labor issue. Oo. So, diba?
Tama,
Kaya whole of government talaga
that's
dapat.
That's right. Oo. That's true. Kaya nga Parang, sabi mo whole government approach. Paano kaya natin masisimulan yan? O sino dapat magsimula yan sa gobyerno? I don't know if it should be NEDA. And through the advocacies of experts like you, you can influence, as you said, the agencies to have that new paradigm and thinking about health. Now, it's not only sabihin na parang you're looking at health on a silo base, but it should be connected with the whole planet.
Yep.
So sa palagay mo, mag-e-end tayo, pero sa palagay mo saan tayo magsisimula o paano natin sisimulan yun?
Great question, ma'am. I think isusulat ko ito sa dyaryo dapat na ito yung mga
susulat ka din?
I do write, no?
Wow.
Kasi
napaka-importante mo namang skills.
Hindi naman, ma'am. Napaka-importante kasi that's our way to really shape the discourse, right? And
that's right.
The consciousness of the public and the policy world. So, I think for the next president, siguro i-angkla ko sa elections, no? I would recommend that the president appoints a presidential advisor for planetary health. Something like that, right?
Recommend mo na ngayon.
Sulat ko na, no? I would love the next president to establish a planetary health task force or a commission na interdisciplinary, aaralin talaga ang sitwasyon ng Pilipinas and how we're also connected with the global crisis. Yeah. And we'll come up with clear-cut recommendations that all agencies will be working on together, no? And then yung gayahin natin yung gagawin ng Malaysia na planetary health roadmap.
Roadmap, yeah. Maganda yun,
So, marami pong pwede talagang gawin, no? And then of course, kasi national level lahat ng suggestions na to, no? wag nating kalimutan that the site of action is also local.
Yeah,
Local
oo.
governments. So, can we come up with planetary health-oriented LGUs, no? What is an LGU that abides by planetary health principles? I think we should develop that kind of framework.
Oh, that's
Oo.
true. Meron tayong programa, of course, this is private sector, the Galing Po Foundation.
Yes.
Okay. So they
Mr. Eddie
award.
Dorotan.
Oo,
Hello
yes,
po.
oo. Kilala mo din pala sa Eddie, no? Marami silang nire-recognize na mga LGUs concerned with health, concerned with the environment, pero bago itong sinasabi planetary health. So maybe it's also time na ma-recognize din yun para magkaroon din ng recognition and also maging best practice. Kasi nag-aaral naman sila yung mga bagong mga mayors bumibisita sila sa mga local governments na merong best practices. So mangyayari naman siguro yun. No? So kailangan pa natin ng maraming champions na katulad mo. At yung mga information na binigay mo kanina, like yung tungkol sa
Antimicrobial resistance.
Oo. I think yung mga nakikinig sa atin, I hope they will be awakened and become more aware of this issue. Kasi marami ding sila na nag-prescribe na antibiotic para sa sarili nila. Marami ganung tao Pag meron silang ubo, ito kagad kukunin nila. Not realizing the impact of this medicines and also their prescribing for themselves without knowing.
Right.
Kasi as a patient ng NKTI, ang dami kong na-meet na mga classmates ko sa dialysis center. Ang cost ng dialysis nila is they just, may pain sila, lang sila kahit anong klaseng painkiller. No? Yung mga mabibigat like ibuprofen, ganyan. And then after a while, ayun, nasira yung kanilang kidneys because of that. So yung marami talagang ganung examples. Nakakatakot. So I want to thank you for sharing all this new information, which I hope will be taken seriously by our listeners, so that magbasa pa sila. And of course, sabi nga, isulat mo na yung article mo para saan ka ba nagsusulat? Anong dyaryo?
Ay, iba-iba naman pong
okay.
outlet.
Oo.
So,
Oo. And maybe you have some last, meron pa tayong 5 minutes. You can take the whole 5 minutes.
Well, ma'am, maraming salamat sa Radyo Bandido, sa Health Justice, for this opportunity. Marami po tayong mga challenges na kakaharapin, no? At kinaharap na. Pero kung tayo ho'y talagang magtutulong-tulungan, lahat po ay magiging kaakibat dito sa mga initiatives na ito, ay siguro very optimistic pa rin ako, no? Despite all that we're seeing. I think we will overcome. I think we will be able to create a healthy Philippines and a healthy planet. Let's do this not just for ourselves. Let's do it for our children, our grandchildren.
That's
and
true. For the future generation, yeah.
The Filipinos 100 years from now.
Uh-oh.
You know, I live in Calamba, which is the birthplace of Rizal.
Oh yeah.
And remember, meron siyang sinulat before. He was already thinking about the Filipino children 100 years from his time.
That's
Ganun
true.
siya mag-isip.
Oo.
So now I think we are really asked to think about the children who will be living in the Philippines a century from now.
Yeah.
And our decisions now are so critical. Our decisions in this upcoming election, our decisions related to the pandemic, our decisions related to the climate crisis, etc. So let's do it for the children who are already living now and the children who are yet to come.
Yeah.
And I think the country, the Philippines, is not starting from scratch. You mentioned the LGUs that have been celebrated by Galing Paok, no? So it's not we're not starting from scratch. There's so many solutions out there, and I think we just need to scale up and spread the virus, not of COVID, but of planetary health.
Yeah.
Maraming salamat and happy World Health Day po sa lahat na nakikinig.
And salamat din for bringing Jose Rizal into the picture. Favorite ko din siya eh. Alam mo, napakagaling talaga ni Jose Rizal. Talaga, ibang klase. Siguro, mapapag-usapan pa natin.
Oo nga. At saka siya, I think he's a planetary health champion when he was, alive, no? He was not just a doctor.
Yeah,
He was a naturalist. Ang daming
That's right.
na-discovering mga kung ano-anong mga insekto at saka reptiles, no? When he was in Dapitan. And he's also, of course, very socially aware, no?
Yeah.
And during that time, he's battling colonialism. Ngayon, what is the colonialism of our time?
Yeah,
Diba?
galing mo talaga. Siguro, we can meet again and
We will.
hopefully I can be part of your advocates for planetary health. Okay? I think winawarning na ako ni Johnny na
Yes,
matatapos na
Komay.
tayo na napakaliit nung oras na binigay mo sa amin. Napakagaling na ating resource person talaga. Bawa ako sa kanya.
Ayan.
Thank you, Johnny. Ikaw na mag-close dito.
Humihingi ng paumanhin kay Dr. Ginto, ang ating tita ng barangay, no? Hindi siya nakasama ngayon dito sa palatuntunan. Meron tayong connectivity issue, pero magkakaroon daw po ng part 2 para muli natin makasama si Dr. Renzo dito sa palatuntunan. Pero meron nag-iisa, actually merong pahabol na tanong dito sa inyong mga naging talakayan at mga naging puntos na pinag-usapan. How do we bring daw, Dr. Ginto, itong ating pinag-usapan dun sa level ng ating mga kabataan at ng ating barangay? Meron pa tayong 1 minute. Can you please share us Dr. Ginto, the information, please?
Talagang kailangan nating isama ang DepEd dito. The whole curriculum should become planetary health oriented, no? At again, hindi tayo magsa-start from scratch kasi in comparison with other countries, ang Philippine curriculum has some climate change content already, no?
Yes.
So kailangan pa nating i-enhance. So yan lang ang isang sagot. Marami pang iba pero alam ko wala na tayong panahon.
Marami pang susunod na talakayan, mga kaibigan, sa pangalan po ni Dr. Renzo Ginto ng St. Luke's, sa pangalan ng ating Commissioner Marian Fernandez ng Civil Service Commission at ng Health Justice Philippines, sa pangalan po ng ating tita ng barangay, Tita Cora Alma de Leon, at ni AJ Austria na ating Technical Director. Pasensya na, ako'y nagko-commute. Si Johnny Gomez, mga kaibigan, magbabalik muli bukas. Salamat po ng marami, pansamantala. Bye-bye!
Bye!